All right. On the last stream, I started talking too early and it cut off. It was like mid-sentence whenever the YouTube and Facebook stream started. So I wanted to wait a couple seconds there. Welcome to episode number 5. Tonight we have a 2019 Toyota 4Runner for a head unit replacement. Stacy emailed us looking for a head unit replacement for her 2019 Toyota 4Runner. She has a $1,300 budget. We're working with Matthew Davies again from Car Audio Revolution tonight. He's going to be helping us out to pick out the perfect product for her 4Runner. Now, this is going to be the second show we've done without a guest, so I want to make it clear. Please, you don't need to participate. We realized we're on episode 5 now, and we realized that not everyone is super comfortable being on camera in front of the whole world forever, right? Because these get uploaded to YouTube and they will be on there forever. So we wanted to be considerate of that and say, all right, if you're not comfortable being on air, that's perfectly fine, but still send in your request. If you have a vehicle and you're looking for an upgrade for it, please reach out to us because we want to help you pick out the right product for that. And again, we're not incentivized. We don't have an agenda. We don't have product on the shelf that we need to sell. We have no brand bias. It's just whatever has worked for us in the past is what we're going to recommend as professionals. I've been doing this 20 years. We've had Matt that's been doing it just as long. Other technicians, if you want to be part of the show, please fill out the application. It's on the same website, elevatedaudioinc.com/easy. So we're going to get this show started here in just a moment. While you wait, feel free to jump on there and fill out a questionnaire and let us quote out a car, or put your hat in the ring to help us provide quotes for other people for their vehicles. So yeah, with that, again, episode 5 today is December 20th, 2023. A few days till Christmas, and yeah, so that's all I got. We're going to go live here in 2 minutes. Well, we're live right now, but we're going to jump in here with Matt here in 2 minutes. All right. See you. Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 5 of Easy Design, the only show on the internet designed to help you as a vehicle owner find the perfect car audio equipment or 12-volt accessories for your car. We do this absolutely free of charge, so if you're looking to have any upgrades done to your car in the near future, we don't care where you live in the country. We're doing this as a free service. You tune in, You submit an inquiry, and we will put together a quote for you based on our experience in the industry. We've all been doing this. Well, Matt and I, at least. I've been doing this 20 years. Matt's been doing it just as long, if not just a little bit longer than I have. And we know the product that you do want and you want to avoid. So this is where we're not trying to sell anything on the show or anything like that. This is completely unbiased opinions based on our, we can't really say unbiased, I'm sorry. It is just professional opinions based on what we have done in the past and products that we enjoy installing as installers and things that we can trust as installers. Because again, we don't like pulling out bad equipment. So, and we don't want that experience for you either. So as we jump into this show, I just wanted to say thank you all for tuning in and watching this. Tonight's episode, we have Stacy, and she sent in her a request for a new stereo for her 2019 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. So she's looking for a stereo replacement and a front drive cam to help her get like CarPlay, but she does have a few things that she wants to keep. So before we jump into it, I would like to say welcome to Easy System Design. And you know, today is December 8th or December 20th. I'm reading old notes here. December 20th, 2023, episode 5. As a reminder, there is no agenda here other than to provide expert advice. We don't sell services. We don't sell any products, anything like that. We do provide the links to the products for the best price or the best service you're going to be able to get online for a product. So we do offer that for you so you can find it easily. All views expressed by our system builders are those of their own and do not represent any, doesn't represent their employers, any manufacturers, or any third party at all. Please keep the chat clean and respectful. And with that, let's introduce Matthew from Car Audio Revolution. Hey Matt.
Andrew. How's it going tonight?
Good. I'm doing good. Thanks for helping out once again, episode 5. So you've been with me for every single one of these. So yeah.
Everyone, yeah.
So
but it's fun. It's fun putting them together, talking about them. So
I hope you've been enjoying it, right?
Absolutely. It's a little bit better than bending over backwards in cars some days.
So for anyone who is looking at this video in the future who might have a Toyota 4Runner, specifically maybe even a 2019 one, so they understand who you are and your background, would you like to share?
Sure. So like you said, 20 plus years of experience. I started my journey in Portland, Oregon. Picked up a lot of knowledge and worked with a lot of great installers and technicians along the way. Eventually made my way to Colorado back in 2010. And now I am owner-operator of my own shop here in Denver. And, you know, primarily working on single projects at a time, sometimes double, but it's always with an emphasis on I want to hear it, not see it, and put it in as if the factory would have done it that way. And of course, there's an emphasis on quality and low failure rate products and things of that nature.
Nice. Yeah, thanks. Shows a little bit about your background and some of your integrity whenever it comes to recommending the right products. So once again, thanks again for helping me out on this project.
Yeah, no problem.
So if we jump into this, so again, we have Stacy's 2019 Toyota 4Runner with a budget of $1,300. And her expectation whenever she sent in this request was looking for a stereo replacement with a front dash camera, or the ability to add a front dash cam. The vehicle is currently equipped with a JBL audio package with steering wheel controls. She's looking for CarPlay and better control over the sound. And based on that kind of guideline, looking over kind of what you built, it looks pretty adequate. So let's jump into your build here. There you go.
Hopefully it'll work out well for her.
Yeah. I keep forgetting I put these slides in here, and this is kind of a overview of how we're going to do the show. tonight and for every night in the future, if we do multi like component builds. So we're always going to start with the source. We're going to move into the processing, the amplifier, wiring, speakers, and then cabin to help reduce physical interference. So really that just means we're going to talk about sound deadening. Obviously, when she reached out, we're just looking at source unit tonight. We're not going to go further down this path. But again, if you want a full build, this is the order in which we're going to go. It all starts somewhere, and then obviously you have the head unit as a center of attention. This is kind of why I feel like she reached out, because she doesn't have some of these creature comforts from a 2019 Toyota, which you would think would have them, but like CarPlay, stuff like that. But Matt's challenge tonight was to get all the OEM features, such as the steering wheel controls and the OEM like backup camera, still working with the aftermarket radio. So with that, Matt, now we will jump into your build. I will let you take over.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So yeah, so there's a few stereos you could have done with this, but the one I like and that kind of fits the bill, price point, and sound was the Kenwood DMX 958XR. This is part of their Exelon lineup, so you do get a few unique features when you go to the Exelon lineup. Primarily, you will get an extra year of warranty, so it has 2 years of total warranty. You'll get high resolution. So if you like playing high resolution files, if you're trying to eventually build a audio file system around it, or just a really good sounding audio system around it, this is going to be a great base and a great stereo to start with. You're not going to have any limitations for the future, really, unless you want to play a CD, because it doesn't do that. So, hey, as long as you have a good bass up front, good head unit to start with, then you can pretty much build around it as you see fit. It also allows us to integrate to this vehicle pretty easily. Now, the factory 2019 4Runner stereo, the N-Tune stereo, is lackluster at best. We see a lot of these in Colorado, and thank you, Toyota, for not doing a great job with the stereo, because it keeps us with quite a bit of work to do. So
it gives us a lot of work to do
in
Colorado.
Just keep us with it. Yep. In fact, I just wrapped up with a 2023 4Runner a few days ago. So yeah, so we have a good stereo to start with. One of the features it gives us is the ability to connect to Maestro. So Maestro is an interface that in itself can be adapted over to lots of different vehicles. The Maestro RR, which is kind of the
it's like a universal module, right?
Yeah, it's a universal interface module. Then you put the adapter harness for your specific vehicle, and you can go to maestro.idatalink to look up your own vehicle, and then you flash the module to your vehicle, whichever you're using, whether it has JBL, no JBL, steering controls, so on. And it's very, very simple to go through the setup process. But what it does, sorry,
if you're a DIY, this Maestro piece, you said you need to program it. How do you program it?
You can program it through the WebLink app.
Like on cell phone?
You can do it from cell phone if you have the right cables. Usually, you're probably going to do this from the web browser on your computer.
Okay, good to know. I presume Windows.
Yeah, Windows is. I think they support Mac, but definitely Windows. For sure.
I've never tried on a Mac, so I assume Windows as well.
Yeah, that's for shop use. If you're in a commercial environment, you pretty much have to have a Windows-based unit, because almost all the companies develop it for that. So yeah, so this part right here, once flashed, will allow us to retain a lot of those factory features. So although the stereo from Toyota, the N-Tune stereo, is not that great, there are a lot of things that are integrated into it, like steering wheel controls, backup camera, USB, things of that nature. So once you remove it, we now have to figure out how to make the new stereo from Kenwood, which is a universal piece, work with Toyota. And step in Maestro here that is going to allow us to have the two talk to each other. It also minimizes the amount of wiring we have to do. We don't have to do any extra wiring to retain the camera. We don't have to do any extra wiring to retain the steering wheel controls. We'd have to program them and tell them what they need to be doing, and you can program however you want. If you want the volume up to do next track, well, you can totally do that if that's the way you want it to be. So yes, so that'll allow us to interface with the vehicle and the Kenwood stereo very nicely, seamlessly, without any problems. The other unique thing that this Kenwood stereo will give us is it will give us the ability to connect Kenwood's dash cam, the DVR N520, to the Kenwood 958XR. So it's already set up to interface with this camera. So instead of having two separate systems, we now have two pieces that can actually talk to each other, just like the Maestro can talk to the car and talk to the stereo.
Matt, I know that you use this system in your Tacoma that you used to own.
Yep.
What is the benefit of actually having that camera display on your stereo?
Well, one, it allows you to view, well, you can change settings, you can view videos. It can also double as I believe it's a collision avoidance system. So if your vehicle didn't come with that, it can give you warnings on screen if you have your head, buried down in the center console and you're about to crash into somebody. It'll give you a big red warning right on the screen. It can also act as a lane departure system. Now, is it as good as factory ones that are built into the vehicles for those collision avoidance systems? No, but it's certainly helpful and definitely great as an extra. So but really it's kind of the interface that allows you to it is the best part of this is you can review, delete, change all the settings right on the screen, which is what the factory does on a lot of stereos now. You might have to change a bunch of settings in the factory stereo for other things in the vehicle. So
And how do you actually get the information off that camera?
So
can you
you
still
can
connect it to your phone, kind of like the Blackview we were talking about last week or Monday?
Yep. So you can do that, or you can simply just pop the SD card out of the unit and put it into your laptop. I believe it comes with a 8 gig SD card, which, to be honest, is not that much. It's probably going to be just fine for your daily driving. But if you get into crash or you need to take the video off of it, you probably want to do that relatively quick instead of just continuing to write over itself, even though it will take events and section them off into other parts of the SD card. Eventually, they will write over themselves if you don't get the video off of the unit.
Yeah. So the main benefit, Stacy, is larger memory card. The longer you can go without having to pull that data off the SD card before it gets overwritten, because once it's gone, it's gone. The other nice thing about a larger memory card is it is experiencing less read-write cycles and erasing cycles. So these SD cards do break down over time, and that's why they have like high endurance SD cards and stuff like that on the market now, that can kind of withstand the consistent overwriting process that's going on with drive cam systems specifically. But and just to clarify one other thing for you is Monday we had this Blackview on the show, which is that dash cam we were talking about for the Toyota Tundra, and that client wanted to be able to view in on the truck when he wasn't with it, right? So you specifically said that you want it for driving. So Matt, will this one work like the Blackview we featured Monday in terms of being able to record events while the car's not on?
This one will not. So this one is for driving, as far as I'm aware. I don't think I ever
So
could get mine do anything like that.
for driving only,
Yes.
unless we're wrong on that. But
Yeah. So there are some positives and negatives for this particular dash cam. One is just as what Andrew described there. If you're trying to get events when the vehicle is parked, I believe, I think there is actually a way to do that. There is actually a parking mode.
okay,
Yes, there is. Sorry. Um, I'm trying to remember. It's been a few years since I've had the Tacoma and interacted with this part on a daily basis. So it can actually record while the vehicle is parked. So that is a benefit.
okay,
It doesn't have the ability to have an LTE or a remote connection like the
okay.
Blackview from the last video. It's also at a significantly smaller price point. So
Hmm.
it's uh,
How
about
much is that camera?
it's $200.
$200. All right.
So the
Yeah, that's a third of the price of
third
the
of the
Blackview.
price, and you can access it all from the stereo right on board, which is now we're getting into the positives of it.
Yeah.
The other drawback is you now I had a Tacoma with a topper, and it was kind of a nightmare to run a rear camera and have it
Hmm.
function and mount properly. So I didn't really care. You cannot add a rear camera onto this one.
Okay.
So be aware, front only.
Yeah. So we've covered the head unit, and that will give her the CarPlay and the dash cam, which will actually integrate into that head unit. But then we also have some install accessories. Um, that radio in the 4Runner is huge, right?
It
It
is
is a
huge.
big, giant stereo, and that whole thing needs to come out, right?
Yes, so the entire dash vents come out, and we replace it with a dash kit. So it's a high gloss charcoal, I
Hmm.
believe, kind of speckles in it. So it matches the trim in the vehicle very well, and then it gives us a nice square doubled in opening for our new stereo. Now, if somebody wanted to increase the budget of this build, it should be a good candidate for a Halo unit radio, to where instead of having this big a radio with a bunch of empty real estate around it, you
Hmm.
can get this big a radio and actually cover and make it look like a modern vehicle, like what Toyota does now on their newer vehicles. Goes these huge monstrous screens. Obviously, Tesla started all that, and a lot of the manufacturers are going to that. So, if your budget happens to be more, great, you
Yeah.
can go with a bigger unit.
Cool. And I've done some of those. I've done like Alpine, I believe Kenwood in there as well. I think
Mm.
Sony has a unit that would kind of take up much more of that real estate. But it is really nice because you could put that in there and it's not really blocking the vents or the four-wheel drive controls that are under there with climate controls and stuff like that. It's such a big void on that dash that yeah, you could easily do a much larger screen in there. But those
Absolutely,
those those would have blown the budget, right?
it would have. It would have been not very possible, at least not possible with a stereo that I believe you would want to have. There's a lot of stereos out there for all kinds of
Hmm.
budgets and price points. Once again, emphasis on quality and in everything I pick. So if you want to roll the dice on a lower quality unit, by all means, just know what you're getting into beforehand.
Yeah. Well, cool. So that's the dash kit, that's a head unit, that's Maestro, and that's what that little the next thing down is that Maestro harness HRRTO2. That's the piece that integrates into the Toyota.
Yep.
We have the little antenna adapter there as well, which will enable AM/FM radio reception. And then last but not least, Matt, we have.
So we have a flush mounted USB-C port. So this is going to replace the USB you have in there now. You can tie into that factory USB if you want to, but your installer is going to have to know what they're doing. So if you're trying to do it as a DIYer, I would just simply put the flush mounted USB-C in there, run it straight to the stereo, call it a day. In Toyotas, if you remove the cigarette lighter plug, just pull it out, this particular part just just snaps right in. It literally rocks right into place, and it's very, very snug. You don't have to put anything to hold it there. Once you rock it into place, it'll look like it's supposed to be there, and it'll stay put.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah, that's always nice. And it's USB-C because this new radio has USB-C on the back of it, right?
Yep. So most of the new radios are moving to the USB-Cs now.
Yeah, and I didn't really clarify this from the beginning, but Stacy was looking to have a shop in her hometown actually do the installation for her. She's just reaching out for product recommendations. So hopefully that installer would know and wouldn't like just blast a new hole in there, because most of us charge our devices off USB anyway.
Right.
And I don't know what the stats are for the Kenwood in terms of amperage output or wattage to charge phones, but older units do have a hard time charging newer devices and kind of keeping up with as quickly as they are burning through the battery to keep them charged. Do you know anything about that, Matt?
Yeah. So I believe it is a 3 amp output
Okay.
from the USB-C. So pretty significant. I think you'd have to move to. There's aren't many that are going to go above that as far as the stereos go.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just not designed for it because the OEM circuit isn't designed for it, and the Maestro's not designed for it, and maybe they should start designing these things for it. But
Sure.
uh,
We'll get to 6 amps and just have like a wall charger in there.
yeah.
Probably pretty soon. In like 10 minutes, your phone will go from 1% to 100%, and your battery will last about 3 months by doing that a bunch of times.
Yeah, the battery would be shot. It's like quick charging a Tesla. It's great when you need it, but you don't want to do that every time.
Fortunately, we get in the habit of doing it a whole bunch, right?
Yeah.
We're impatient by nature usually.
Yep. If my phone is dead before I go to bed, I am upset. So try to charge it back up as quickly as possible. So after all said and done, that put us you kind of went over budget by $100. If that budget is a deal breaker, because we're not factoring in labor here, right? This is
Nope.
just product. And that's part of the questionnaire. And I try to make it as clear as possible. Like, hey, what is your product budget? Because keep in mind, most of the time, your labor is going to, I mean, with a head unit, it's going to be skewed. It should be about 20%. But most car audio stuff, it's between 20 and 50% of your product. Your total cost ends up being labor. Would you agree with that, Matt? Like between 20 and 50%. So typically my tickets are 50-50. So half labor, half product. But these are not just stereo installs. These are
Yeah, right.
amp.
It's with all the parts that we've listed. It's very common to have a similar list for a lot of other vehicles. So yeah, when you're talking about stereos, the split is going to be skewed a bit. So you're going to be 80-20 product to labor, 70-30. You run 50-50 in your shop. I tend to run about 60-40 product to labor. So, and that's really just going to simply be based on the quality of job that somebody's doing. So are they going to mount that Maestro module? Are they going to solder all their connections, or are they just going to ball it all up and throw it in the dash?
There's
That's usually
there's an art to the Maestros to not let them be like a ball of wires behind the dash. So
yeah, mount them down, zip tie them to big harnesses. Do something. Don't just let them clank around behind the stereo.
yeah, we didn't ask, but I assume having a TRD Pro, you're going to be taking it off road. I assume. So yeah, you don't want things rattling behind the dashboard, right?
Right.
So yeah. Well, cool. I mean, that is there anything? So since we are $100 over budget, is there anything we could go down on if that was like a deal breaker?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two ways we could approach it. You could choose a lower level stereo from Kenwood, and they have a lot of different options. You could simply go with a non-Exelon version. which I think is a 90 something, 908. I have to look that one up.
They have a ton of models.
Yeah.
And what's a non-Exelon unit really get you nowadays? What's the difference?
Well, it's still a fantastic unit. The main difference is you're going to go back to a 1-year warranty, and it might not read high resolution files that you might want to play. So it's still a great overall stereo. It's just not going to have some of those top end features and that top end warranty as well. And I believe the screen might be ever so slightly different for high definition.
Okay.
So the other route you could go is you could move to a dash camera that doesn't interface with the stereo. So basically, you've now, instead of working together, you just simply create two systems. And if that was the case, then you can get a dash camera that's around $120, $130, which works very well. It's just a front camera, and you have to connect to it separately via Wi-Fi versus do the stereo. Honestly, if the $100 was the deal breaker, I loved having the dash cam in the stereo. I wish more companies did that. So I would probably drop down to a non-Exelon Kenwood.
Which I was just looking up, and it looks like we'd be at the DMX 9708S.
There you go.
Yep. Does that sound familiar? I don't do mini radios, so I don't want to sound like an idiot on here, but
yep, that sounds familiar, and it's probably about $100 or so less, right?
I don't see a price on it, but okay. I am on Kenwood's website, just kind of going through this, but WVGA capacitive touch, so you still have that nice glass touchscreen. It's still USB-C, so we won't have to change anything on that. It has 4 camera inputs. It is Maestro compatible as well. Would your drive cam plug into that still?
Yes. So there's a pretty comprehensive list on Kenwood's website.
On which units that camera works for?
Yeah, so we have 97. I'm actually looking at it now. So 9708. Yeah, it's a pretty long list. I'm not going to try to scan through everything.
No. It says it right there. It says dash camera ready with the departure delay warning, with the collision warning, all that good stuff. And yeah, you were right on the money. 8 gigabyte SD card, which seems small. I would recommend
it is
just
small.
spending at least like $30 for like a 64 gig. You know,
I think it tops out at 32.
Oh, really? That's good to know.
Yes. So that is another. Honestly, that's a drawback these days. To be honest, 32 gig card, but at least it's not going to be expensive. And go for a class 10, 32 gig card, you'd be good.
Yeah, 32 gig card would cost what, $3 now? I don't know.
That's right.
Well, yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, 32 gig SD card. Actually, $30, $13. All right. But again, if you're watching this in the future, maybe not you, Stacy, but anyone else who may be watching it, just as a reminder, you want a high endurance SD card. You don't want to just get a cheap little guy. Like we have a Lexar right here that's $13, but then you could do the high endurance one and it's $30. So it's 3 times more expensive, but the idea is you don't have to replace it as often. So just be prepared. It will die on you. And that's the last thing you want with a drive cam, to find out that your SD card has been corrupt for the last 5 months when the one time you need it, it just doesn't work. So yeah, that's terrible.
Because you will have to, and I don't think we actually addressed this in the last video on the higher end dash cams. You will have to reformat them occasionally. Usually it will prompt you to do that. But yes, so the higher class, the more times you're going to get to do that.
Yeah, and I was totally wrong. I was looking at a 5-pack. So single Samsung high endurance, it's less than $8. So
yeah.
All right, I was way off on that. Anyways, yeah, so we would step it down from the Exelon to the non-Exelon. So you're stepping down from 3-year warranty down to a 1-year warranty on that unit. hopefully, if you buy it from, let's say, what's up, Mark? How are you doing? He is a really good tech. He just popped in on TikTok there, but
Nice.
he make sure whenever you're buying online that you're buying from a dealer that will still be able to have these warranties. So buying Kenwood Exelon from a non-authorized dealer is it's gonna leave you in a really gray spot, right? Kenwood might take care of you, but trust me, it's kind of difficult to deal with Kenwood, right, Matt? Like dealing with any of
Yes.
our manufacturers is kind of a pain in the ass.
So Kenwood has the ability. Kenwood has a lot of things going for him, and that's why they are typically my second go-to brand as far as stereos go. So they're
okay,
still number two. Like I, but yes, I will say that the back end support it could be better if there's problems. They don't have problems very often, but when they do, when anything has a problem, right, you want somebody to be uh, there for you. You want to be able to get a hold of them quickly. Nothing's more frustrating than waiting on hold and going through all the hoops. So,
yeah,
the quality of the product is great. Rarely you have to do that. So
good, cool. No, I had to bring that up. And that's why we're putting the link to the Crutchfield one on there. It's the same price no matter where you get it, honestly. So yeah, I would, and you might be able to save some money on the installation equipment as well, and including the Maestro RR and the stuff if you buy it all as a package from them versus just piecing it together elsewhere. But yeah, no, that's I feel like that was a good episode, Matt.
yeah.
I hope it was educational and helpful for you, Stacy. We really appreciate you sending in your request and wanting to kind of feature your car on here. So, and thank you, Matt, for taking some time out of your day, putting this together. And I mean, I would definitely install this tomorrow if somebody brought me this list of equipment. Actually, I wouldn't because I don't install anything people bring me, but I would trust it, right? As opposed to some other stuff. Like if you type in 2019 Toyota 4Runner, like I did like an hour ago, there are all these Chinese brands that look amazing. I mean, I would like nice widescreen, high resolution displays. Would you put one of those in, Matt?
So I have in similar vehicles,
Yeah.
and they look the part. So I'll give them that. They look like they're supposed to be there. So that's
They look
fantastic.
amazing.
Yep.
I mean, I am jealous that of
Yes, they definitely look the part. There's a reason they are at
$300.
least $300-400, and that's kind of honestly expensive for some of them. It's because of performance and then the support on the back end. So it's just one of those things. Know what you're getting into if you want to go that route, and that's definitely a radio for somebody who puts a heavy emphasis on cosmetics.
Yeah.
It's the Kenwood will look great in your 4Runner. The Chinese Android tablets will look better, but perform way worse. So,
I mean, that was part of the looking for better control over the sound, which was one of the expectations. And Kenwood does that the best out of any brand, in my opinion. They just have so many DSP options in their head units now, especially the Exelon units. So yeah, the Chinese, the things that look the best typically have like the worst sound quality. So yeah. So
that's how it
no,
goes.
yeah.
But people still love those units. So I get lots of calls. Put them in.
I love them too. Like I love the way they look. I would just never install one because they're terrible.
It's an
Why
expectation,
can't
right?
Kenwood make one like that? Like they just start making vehicle specific units.
Right. If you're for companies like that, they just can't, right? They
Oh
can't.
no.
They have to make it's a 3 or 4 or 5 part system, right? They have to make a universal piece. They have to rely on another company and interface like Maestro. They have to rely on
Mhm.
another company like Metro or Scos to be able to fit it in the unit, fit it in your vehicle.
Yeah.
So yeah, otherwise you'd wind up in the Alpine Restyle realm again,
Oh, yeah,
which
I
was
remember those.
a fantastic concept. Fell
They
flat
were
on
they
its
were really
face.
good.
Yep. It's
I
just
stocked
too
a couple
specific.
of those, and I did not move them for years
Yeah.
until I had sell them below cost. I'm like, I just want to get rid of this damn radio. Please take it off my hands. Because
Right.
unfortunately, it's like once you have it for 2 years, it's already outdated on Bluetooth and everything else. So it's like, man, you really need that specific customer at that point.
It is just too specific. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. Uh, they're much safer working with standardized systems like doubled in, singled in.
Mhm.
Um, got color codes, EIA color codes, and makes everyone's life easier,
Yeah,
especially if you have any problems.
I would say so. It's it's a nice idea, but yeah, in terms of the restyle stuff. So,
Yep.
and that's one of the benefits of this show, where we're not here trying to sell you our restyle for your car. Let's say it was a car that we had on the shelf, because we don't have an inventory. We don't have any incentive to try to sell you anything specific other than things that we would trust putting in. So, yeah.
Yep.
So please, on that note, send in some requests. This is episode 5, and we're trying to do 5 a week. We're 20 days into the month. We started this on December 1st, and we're on our 5th episode. So the leads are coming in, they're trickling in, and we greatly appreciate all you guys and women who have submitted some inquiries, and we have a few on the books for this week as well. I think we got 2 more. But yeah, no, please. It's completely free for everyone. Just go to elevatedaudioinc.com/easy and you will have the opportunity to have us build out a system for you. So yeah, anything else, Matt? We'll wrap up
Uh,
then.
yeah. One thing I did think about for any potential viewers that maybe don't have a 4Runner or another vehicle, go to Maestro iDataLink's website and see the extra features that Maestro can do for you. We didn't really touch on any of those extras. We simply talked about what it can retain,
Yeah.
but it can give you a lot of cool features like gauge sets.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of information in modern vehicles that isn't displayed. It's only there for the computer to receive it. But Maestro is able to extract that information, at least some of it, and display it on screen. Toyota, one of the biggest complaints is you just see your tire pressure light come on. You have no idea what tire it is. It'll allow you to see each individual tire and what the pressure is, so you know which tire to go to automatically to check the air, put air in it. It'll give you one. There's a lot of extra goodies built into what we've recommended. So take a little time, put in your own vehicle in that website, the maestro.iDataLink, and see what it can do for you. See what kind of cool features you can get.
Yeah, I'm just going to their website right now. I'm going to share that screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Share screen. Where is it? 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 Window. Where? Oh man, maybe not. Oh, there it is. Share. Let's see, will this work? All right, so we got the Maestro website on here. Oh man, there's a lot of installers here. Are you on this list, Matt?
I don't think so.
I doubt I am either. I don't even know why I'm getting caught up on this. No, who is this guy? All right, obviously it's just people who are no longer car toys. Yeah. Anyways, I got distracted. I'm sorry. Let's see here. So radar detector integration, right? So if you have like a K40 or Escort radar, it will show up on there. What else?
Depending on the radio, there is one radio that does Maestro that does not do K40 integration,
Oh,
and that
really?
is,
Why is that? That doesn't make any
have to
sense to
ask
me.
them. That would be Sony. So if you have a K40 fully integrated radar and you plan on displaying it on screen on your
Yeah.
stereo, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to move over to Kenwood, Pioneer, Alpine, some other brand that's Maestro compatible,
I see.
NK40 compatible.
I thought you were talking about a vehicle that wouldn't be compatible. And I was like, that's weird. I'm picking a Ford because Ford has like everything.
Yeah. So Ford's a cool one because you can often retain the factory volume knob.
Which radio are we doing here, Matt? Sorry.
The 958.
This one? DMX
XR?
958 XR? Cool.
Yeah. Ford's kind of unique. So if you look at like that volume knob in the center of the screen at the moment, Ford has, well, at least the F-150 has something similar, and you're able to retain that, which is, everybody loves volume knobs, and there's not enough of them out there.
Yeah,
So,
I would agree with that.
yep.
So yeah, OEM camera, which is what we're doing on the 4Runner, right? So we're keeping her 4Runner. We have steering wheel controls, we have the radar integration, and
If you tab over on the screen, it'll give you a list. Yeah,
where at?
down below.
Down below. Oh,
If you just keep going over those little marks, yeah.
I see. So warning chimes. Warning chimes is huge for a lot of cars with factory beeping stuff, right?
Yep, all the beeps and bleeps and all the noises cars make now.
And then we have climate controls, which Ford, and you can't do that with a Toyota. So
can't do that with a Toyota, and unfortunately, I wish they had that. You can't do that with. I have a GMC. You think it should be able to do that? It doesn't. It would be nice if it did.
And then we have vehicle info, which doors open, check engine light, so DTC codes.
Yep.
Programmable features, so you can set up.
So to go back, somebody might like that feature.
Yeah.
Is with the check engine, not only will it tell you what code it is, once you fix the problem, you can clear the code out with the unit.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Or if you're like me, you could just clear out the code until it comes back and then clear it.
Sure.
Never actually
keep it. I recommend, you fix it, but you can't. It's got a very, very simple scan tool basically built into it because it does connect at the OBD port most of the vehicles. It has a cable set that goes down to the OBD plug on the driver's side. Some vehicles, you don't have to do that. There's enough CAN bus information behind the stereo. Yep. But most of the time, you're running to the OBD port.
As a little public service announcement, if anyone sells you a iData-Link Maestro and you don't get any features, like any integration features other than steering wheel controls, then you definitely got overcharged, right?
Yeah.
Because there are less expensive units out there. How much is a Maestro? Like 130?
So the Maestro RR is $170, and the harness is $80.
Okay.
The vehicle specific harness that you need to purchase.
So that's a $250 investment.
There are some extras from them that, depending on the vehicle, that will make your life a little easier, like USB adapters, satellite radio antenna adapters, things of that nature.
Okay, nice. So, we went on a little bit of a tangent. We had some time. We try to keep the shows to an hour. So if you do want to be a guest on here, just set aside an hour. You could be featured on here. You could kind of hit us with some questions, because that's the best part, and that's why I designed the show, to have the guest on air to ask the questions immediately. But Stacy, as you know, as we discussed, even though you're not on air, feel free to send us emails with any questions that you might have after the show. With that, Matt, I would like to say thank you. Thanks for participating and helping out and building out this system on this 4Runner.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me, and thanks to Stacy for submitting the inquiry.
Yeah, well, perfect. I'll let you go, Matt. Thank you again, and thank you, Stacy. We really appreciate you. See you, Matt. I cut him out before he said bye. See you, Matt.
Bye.
And then I cut him out again as he was saying bye. Damn it. Anyways, thank you all. Again, this was episode number 5 of Easy Design, the only show on the internet where we provide you free car audio advice for your car specifically, recommending products that we would trust putting into our own customer vehicles. Please send in an inquiry. We'd be happy to help. We're ramping up this project. We want to do 5 a week. So if you could help out, please do. You don't have to be on air if you're not comfortable with it. That is one edit we've already made. And this is a nice flowing project, and we might be changing how it works and everything else as we move into the future. But I'm super excited for it because already we've helped 5 people find the right product for their cars. So if you want to be one of the futures, please do. We greatly appreciate it. Anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. Again, this has been episode number 5 of Easy Design, and I hope everyone has a great evening and happy holidays. Again, it is December 20th, 2023, and I like doing that because one day I will watch these and be like, when was that? When was that? So, anyways, I hope everyone has great holidays. Actually, we'll see you before then. Yeah.